Commander Hannah stood at the bridge of the battlecruiser Void Serpent, watching the stars through the massive viewport. The ship hummed with quiet power as it moved through space. Her crew worked at their stations with practiced efficiency. Person knew their job well. The communication panel beeped. A message from High Command had arrived. Hannah walked to her chair and pressed the accept button. The holographic display flickered to life, showing Admiral Kwan's stern face. "Commander." "Hannah," the Admiral said. His voice carried the weight of authority. "You have a new assignment?" "This one comes directly from the Nexus Council." Hannah straightened her uniform. Assignments from the Council were never simple. They usually meant someone important needed to die. "What are my orders?" Admiral Kwan's expression grew darker. "There is a human ship called Terra's Dawn. Its captain is named June. He has stolen Coalition property and refuses to surrender. The Council has issued a kill command." The words hit Hannah like a physical blow. A kill command meant no prisoners, no mercy, complete destruction. "What did they steal?" Hannah asked. "Ancient human artifacts. The Council believes these items contain dangerous technology. If humans learn to use them, it could upset the balance of power in the galaxy." Hannah nodded. She had heard stories about human unpredictability in battle. They fought in ways that made no sense to other species. Yet somehow, they often won. "How many ships does Captain June have?" "Just one. But do not underestimate him. This human has already outrun 3 Coalition fleets. His crew uses tactics we have never seen before." The Admiral sent the mission files to Hannah's personal terminal. Images of the Terra's Dawn appeared. On her screen, it was smaller than her ship, but looked fast and well-armed. "The human ship was last seen near the Crimson Nebula," Kwan continued. "They are trying to reach the Outer Rim. You must stop them before they escape Coalition space." Hannah studied the tactical data. The Terra's Dawn had indeed escaped from 3 separate fleets. Each time, they had used different strategies. The reports described maneuvers that seemed impossible. "Admiral, the records show they never fired first in any engagement. They avoided hitting civilian ships." "Are we certain they are hostile?" Kwan's eyes narrowed. "Commander, humans are dangerous precisely because they appear peaceful. They lull you into a false sense of security, then strike without warning. Do not let their tricks fool you." "Yes, Admiral. You have the best strike force in the Coalition. Use it." "The Council wants this matter resolved quickly and quietly." The transmission ended. Hannah stared at the empty holographic display for a long moment. Something about this assignment felt wrong. She had hunted pirates and rebels before. They usually acted like criminals. But the Terra's Dawn's behavior seemed more like that of desperate refugees. Major Tay approached her station. He was her second in command, and had served with her for 5 years. His loyalty was absolute. "Commander, I have reviewed the mission. Files. When do we begin the hunt?" "Set course for the Crimson Nebula. Maximum speed. Alert all department heads to prepare for combat operations." "Yes, Commander." As Tay walked away, Hannah opened the detailed intelligence files about Captain June. The human's background was surprisingly ordinary. Before the war, he had been a teacher on Earth. He specialized in history and literature. Not exactly the profile of a dangerous criminal. The file contained recordings of his previous communications with Coalition forces. Hannah listened to them. Carefully, June's voice was calm and measured, spoke with respect, even when threatened. His requests for safe passage were polite but firm. "We seek only to preserve what remains of our culture," he had said in one recording. "These artifacts are not weapons, they're memories." Hannah found herself puzzled. The artifacts were just cultural items. Why was the Council so concerned? What made old human books and art so dangerous? She called up the technical specifications of the Terra's Dawn. The ship was indeed fast, but its weapons were standard Coalition technology, nothing special or particularly threatening. Yet 3 fleets had failed to capture it. The key seemed to be the crew. The files mentioned Lieutenant Wu, the tactical officer. His combat record showed an ability to think in ways that confused Coalition commanders. Engineer Hyan had modified their ship's systems in creative ways that improved performance beyond normal specifications. "Commander," came a voice from behind her. It was Sergeant Dahl, her chief security officer. The crew is ready for combat. All weapon systems are operational. Good. What do you know about fighting humans? Dahl considered the question. They are unpredictable. They seem to break every rule of proper warfare, but they are still just one species. We have superior numbers and firepower. That's what the other 3 fleets thought. Yes, Commander. But we are different. We have you leading us. Hannah appreciated the confidence, but she remained troubled. She had built her career on understanding her enemies. Humans were proving difficult to understand. The Void Serpent dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Crimson Nebula. The nebula was a massive cloud of red gas and stellar debris. Ships could hide easily in its depths. Begin sensor sweeps, Hannah ordered. Full spectrum analysis. I want to know about every piece of metal in that nebula. Her crew worked with practiced efficiency. The Void Serpent's sensors were the most advanced in the Coalition fleet. Terra's Dawn was hiding in the nebula. They would find it. Contact, announced the sensor operator. Human ship, bearing 27 Mark IV. They are moving deeper into the nebula. Pursuit course. Battle stations. The ship's lights dimmed as power was redirected to weapons and shields. Hannah felt the familiar excitement of the hunt. Yet this time, it was mixed with uncertainty. As they closed the distance, Hannah got her first visual of the Terra's Dawn. It was beautiful in its simplicity. The hull was scarred from previous battles, but the ship moved with grace through the dangerous nebula. They're not trying to run, observed Major Tay. They're leading us somewhere. Hannah realized he was right. The human ship was moving in a pattern, drawing them deeper into the nebula. It was either a trap or a deliberate choice of battleground.
Careful,
She warned her crew. Humans think differently than we do. Be ready for anything. The hunt had begun. Soon Hannah would face the enemy she had been ordered to destroy. But looking at the Terra's Dawn, she found herself wondering who the real enemy was. The Terra's Dawn moved through the red clouds of the Crimson Nebula like a dancer avoiding obstacles. Hannah watched from the bridge of the Void Serpent as the human ship performed maneuvers that should have been impossible. The nebula's energy. Storms would tear apart most vessels, yet the humans navigated through them with ease. How are they doing that? Major Tay asked, staring at the display. Their pilot must be exceptional, Hannah replied. But even as she said it, she knew it was more than just skill. Humans were using techniques that Coalition forces had never seen before. Commander called the weapons officer. We have a clear shot. Hannah hesitated. The kill command was clear. She should fire immediately. But something made her pause. Hold your fire. Let's see what they do. The Terra's Dawn suddenly changed course, diving deeper into the nebula. The Void Serpent followed, its sensors struggling to track the human ship through the interference. They're heading for the storm cluster, reported the navigator. No ship can survive in there. But the Terra's Dawn did not slow down. Instead, it accelerated toward the massive energy storms that crackled with deadly lightning. Hannah held her breath as the human ship disappeared into the chaos. They're gone, said the sensor operator. I've lost all contact. No, Hannah said firmly. They're still alive. Keep searching. Minutes passed. Then, without warning, the Terra's Dawn emerged from the storm cluster behind them. The human ship had somehow used the energy storms to mask its movement and circle around. Incoming transmission, announced the communications officer. Through, the main screen flickered and Captain June's face appeared. He was younger than Hannah had expected, with kind eyes and graying hair. He did not look like a dangerous criminal. Coalition vessel, June said, in accented but clear Galactic standard. I am Captain June of the Terra's Dawn. You have been following us for 3 hours. May I ask why? Hannah stood and faced the screen. Captain June, I am Commander Hannah of the Coalition Strike Force. You are carrying stolen property. Surrender immediately. June's expression remained calm. Commander, with respect, we have stolen nothing. We carry only what belongs to us. The Nexus Council has declared those artifacts to be Coalition property. The Council cannot claim ownership of human culture, June replied. These items are all that remains of our civilization. We will not surrender them. Behind June, Hannah could see other crew members. They looked tired but determined. A young woman with short black hair stepped into view. She whispered something to June, then looked directly at Hannah. The woman said, "I am Lieutenant Wu, tactical officer. I do not wish to fight you. We only want to reach the outer rim, where we can preserve our heritage." Hannah studied their faces. These were not pirates or terrorists. They were survivors trying to save something precious. "Your heritage?" Hannah asked. June nodded. Earth was destroyed 3 years ago. Most of our people are scattered across the galaxy. These artifacts contain our history, our art, our music. They are the memory of our world, the Council says. They contain dangerous technology. Council fears what they do not understand, said another voice. An older man appeared on screen. He wore the uniform of a chief engineer. "I am Han. I have examined every artifact in our possession. They are books, paintings, musical recordings, nothing more." Hannah felt her certainty wavering. The intelligence. Files had mentioned weapons technology. Looking at these humans, she saw only desperate people trying to preserve their culture. "Prove it," she said. June considered her words. "You want to see what we carry?" "Yes, very well. But I ask for a temporary ceasefire. My crew will not fire on you if you extend the same courtesy." Major Tay stepped forward. "Commander, this could be a trap." Hannah raised her hand for silence. "Agreed, Captain." Temporary ceasefire. The transmission continued. June moved away from the screen, and the view shifted to show the Terra's dawns. Cargo hold. Hannah expected to see weapons or military equipment. Instead, she saw carefully preserved containers and storage units. Engineer Hoan opened one container. Inside were physical books, their pages yellow with age. Another container held paintings wrapped in protective material. A third contained musical instruments that looked ancient but beautiful. "These are from Earth's greatest museums," Hoan explained. "We saved what we could before the planet fell. Literature from your Shakespeare and Dostoevsky, art from Monet and Picasso, music from Bach and Mozart." "I do not recognize these names," Hannah said. "That is the tragedy," June replied, returning to the screen. "Human culture has been forgotten by the galaxy. But these works inspired countless other civilizations. The music of Centauri was based on human compositions. The art of Rigel follows human techniques. The philosophy of Vega quotes human thinkers." Lieutenant Wu spoke up. "Commander, humans have been part of the galaxy for centuries. Our culture spread through early radio transmissions. Other species learned from us, then forgot where the knowledge came from." Hannah was stunned. If this was true, then human culture had shaped the entire galaxy. "Why would the Council want to destroy this?" "Because they fear the truth," June said quietly. "If the galaxy knew that humans were teachers rather than destroyers, it would change everything. The Council has built their power on the idea that humans are dangerous primitives." The communication was interrupted by an urgent beeping. Sensor operator looked up with alarm. "Commander, I'm detecting multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. Coalition fleet, full battle formation." Hannah's heart sank.
Admiral
Quan had sent reinforcements. The temporary ceasefire would end immediately. "Captain June," she said quickly, "you need to run. Now, Commander." Major Tay looked confused. "Are you doing my duty?" Hannah replied. But even as she said it, she wondered what her duty really was. Was it to follow orders blindly, or to protect innocent people? The new fleet opened fire without warning. Energy beams lanced through the nebula, targeting both ships. The Terra's Dawn's shields flared as it absorbed the attacks, turned fire. June shouted to his crew, but Lieutenant Wu's response surprised everyone. Defensive fire only. Target their weapons, not their life support. Even under attack, the humans were trying to minimize casualties. Hannah watched in amazement as the Terra's Dawn's weapons precisely disabled the attacking ships without destroying them. Commander Sergeant Dahl called out, "Orders from the fleet. We are to destroy both ships immediately." Hannah looked at the screen where June still waited. The human captain was calm, even as his ship shook under enemy fire. "What are you going to do, Commander?" he asked. Hannah made her choice. Target the attacking fleet. Commander, Major Tay protested.
Ow!
Those are coalition ships. They fired on us during a ceasefire. Hannah replied. That makes them the enemy. The Void Serpent's weapons turned toward the coalition fleet. For the first time in her career, Hannah was about to fire on her own forces. But looking at the Terra's Dawn fighting desperately to protect irreplaceable cultural treasures, she knew it was the right choice. The battle for the Crimson Nebula had begun, and Hannah had chosen her side. The battle in the Crimson Nebula lasted only 20 minutes. Working together, the Void Serpent and Terra's Dawn drove off the Coalition attack fleet. But Hannah knew this was only the beginning. Admiral Kwan would send more ships, and next time, they would be ready for her betrayal. Damage report, Hannah called out. Minor hull damage on Deck 7, reported Sergeant Dahl. No casualties. What about the Terra's Dawn? Their shields are down to 30%, but they're still operational. Hannah opened a channel to the human ship. Captain June appeared on screen, looking tired but grateful. Commander Hannah, thank you for your assistance. We were not expecting support from Coalition forces. I'm no longer Coalition, Hannah replied. The moment I fired on those ships, I became a traitor. We need to talk, Captain, face to face. June hesitated. That could be dangerous for both of us. There's a neutral trading station to hours from here. Kepler Station. It's outside Coalition space. We can meet there. Why would you risk meeting with an enemy? Hannah considered the question. Because I don't think you are my enemy anymore. 3 hours later, Hannah stood in the docking bay of Kepler Station. The place was crowded with traders and smugglers from across the galaxy. It was neutral territory where anyone could conduct business without fear of arrest. Captain June walked toward her, accompanied by a young woman with bright, intelligent eyes. She wore the uniform of a communications officer. Commander Hannah, June said, extending his hand in the human gesture of greeting. This is Salman, my communications officer. Hannah shook hands with both humans. It was her first time touching a human, and she was surprised by how normal it felt. I have questions, Hannah said. Many questions. Then let us find somewhere private to talk. They rented a small conference room in the station's commercial district. Once they were seated, Hannah looked directly at June. Show me the artifacts. All of them. June nodded to Salman, who activated a portable holographic display. Images filled the air around them. Books, paintings, sculptures, musical instruments, and digital files. This is the complete archive of human civilization. Explained. Everything we could save from Earth before it fell? Hannah studied the images. These are just cultural items. Art and literature. Why is the Council so afraid of them? Because they tell the truth about humanity, June replied. Look at this. Display changed to show a painting of a peaceful countryside. Below it was information about the artist and the time period. This was painted 800 years ago by a human named Van Gogh. It was transmitted into space as part of early human broadcasts. So Salman touched the display, and another image appeared. This one showed a famous painting from the Centauri system. The style was remarkably similar. This Centauri masterpiece was painted 200 years after Van Gogh's work. The artist claimed it was inspired by voices from the stars. Hannah began to understand. The human broadcasts. Exactly. Human culture has been spreading through the galaxy for centuries. Their species learned from us, then forgot where the knowledge came from. The display showed more examples. Musical compositions from Rigel that matched human symphonies. Architectural styles on Vega that copied human designs. Scientific theories that were first proposed by human thinkers. You're saying humans influenced the development of galactic civilization? More than influenced, June said quietly. We helped create it. Human creativity, human art, human philosophy, these things shaped the galaxy. But the Council has spent decades erasing this history. Why? Because it threatens their power, Salman explained. The Council rules through fear. They tell other species that humans are dangerous primitives who must be controlled. But if the galaxy knew the truth, that humans were teachers and creators, everything would change. Hannah felt anger rising in her chest. You're telling me the war against humanity is based on lies? The war was never about protecting the galaxy from human aggression, June said. It was about protecting the Council's authority. The display showed a new image. It was a document written in the ancient human language called English. Below it was a translation. This is called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Salman explained. It was written by humans centuries ago. Read it? Hannah read the translated text. It spoke of equality, freedom, and the inherent dignity of all intelligent beings. The concepts were revolutionary, even by modern galactic standards. Many species have adopted similar principles, June said. But they don't know these ideas originally came from humans. There's more, Salman said, changing the display again. Scientific discoveries, mathematical theories, philosophical concepts, all human in origin, all spread through early space transmissions. Hannah stared at the evidence. Everything she had been taught about humans was wrong. They weren't primitive savages. They were the galaxy's greatest teachers. The Council knows this. Some members do, June replied. That's why they want these artifacts destroyed. They're afraid of what would happen if the truth came out. What would happen? Revolution, Salman said simply. The entire galactic order would collapse. Species would demand answers. The Council's authority would crumble. Hannah stood and walked to the window. Outside, she could see ships from dozens of different species. All of them had been influenced by human culture without knowing it. There's something else, June said quietly. Something we haven't told anyone else. What? Dr. Minho, our chief scientist, made a discovery while studying the archives. He found evidence that the Council has been actively suppressing human cultural influence for generations. What kind of evidence? Records of destroyed human settlements, suppressed archaeological discoveries, deleted historical files. The Council hasn't just been hiding the truth, they've been actively erasing. Hannah felt sick. How many human colonies were destroyed? All because they contained evidence of humanity's cultural contributions. My people, Hannah whispered. We've been helping them commit genocide. Not genocide of bodies, June corrected. Genocide of memory. They want to erase the fact that humans ever existed. Salman leaned forward. Commander, you asked why we won't surrender these artifacts? Now you know. They're not just art and literature. They're proof of who we are. They're the evidence that humanity deserves to exist. Hannah turned back to face them. What do you need? Safe passage to the outer rim? There are independent colonies there, beyond Council control. We can establish an archive, preserve the truth, and we hope that someday, the galaxy will be ready to learn where its culture really came from. Hannah made her decision. I'll help you reach the outer rim, Commander Salman said. If you do this, there's no going back. The Council will hunt you forever. Then let them hunt, Hannah replied. I've seen enough lies. It's time for the truth. Outside the station, Admiral Kwan's fleet was already gathering. The hunt would begin again soon. But this time, Hannah would be fighting for something she believed in. The truth about humanity was worth any sacrifice. The journey from Kepler Station to the Outer Rim should have taken 3 days, but with Admiral Kwan's fleet hunting them, the combined ships of Hannah and June had to take dangerous shortcuts through uncharted space. We're entering the stellar graveyard, announced Lieutenant Wu from the Terra's Dawn. Her voice came through the communication link between the two ships. This is where old ships come to die. Hannah looked at the massive display on her bridge. The stellar graveyard stretched for thousands of kilometers. Ancient wrecks floated in the darkness, some so old that their origins were unknown. It was a ship captain's nightmare, but also the perfect place to hide. Stay close to the Terra's Dawn, Hannah ordered her crew. They know this area better than we do. Major Tay approached her chair. His face showed deep concern. Commander, are you certain? About this course of action, you're questioning my decisions, Major? I'm questioning your judgment. 3 days ago, you were a loyal coalition officer. Now you're helping the enemy escape. Hannah turned to face him. Tell me, Major, what did you think of the artifacts we saw? They appeared to be harmless cultural items. Then why are we hunting people who want to preserve them? Major Tay had no answer. He walked back to his station, but Hannah could see doubt in his eyes. Her entire crew was struggling with the same questions. The Terra's dawn led them deeper into the graveyard. The path between wrecks was narrow and dangerous. One wrong move could tear their hull open on twisted metal. Contact, called the sensor. Operator. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace behind us. How many 12 vessels? Admiral Kwan's flagship is among them. Hannah felt her heart sink. 12 ships against 2. The odds were impossible. Can we outrun them?
Out.
Graveyard. The wrecks will slow us down. Captain June's voice came through the communicator. Commander Hannah, we need to talk. Emergency conference. Minutes later, the senior officers from both ships met in the Terra's Dawn's briefing room. Besides June and Hannah, there was Lieutenant Wu, Engineer Heian, Major Tae, and Sergeant Dahl. We can't outrun 12 ships, June said without preamble, but we might be able to outfight them. How? Asked Major Tae. They outnumber us 6-1. By fighting smart instead of fighting hard, Lieutenant Wu replied. The graveyard gives us advantages if we use them correctly. Engineer Hoyan activated a holographic display showing the local area. These wrecks aren't just obstacles. They're weapons if we know how to use them. Explain, Hannah said. Some of these ships have been here for centuries. Their reactors are unstable, but still functional. If we can trigger controlled explosions, we can create a minefield. That's suicide, Sergeant Dahl protested. One wrong calculation and we'll blow ourselves up. Better than letting the Council destroy the archives, June said quietly. Hannah studied the tactical display. The plan was incredibly dangerous, but it might work. What do you need from us? Your ship has better sensors than ours, Lieutenant, Wu explained. We need you to identify which wrecks have unstable reactors. We'll handle the targeting. And if this doesn't work, then we make our final stand here, June replied. At least the archives will be destroyed by people who understand their value, not by those who fear them. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent alert. Admiral Kwan's fleet had entered the graveyard and was closing fast. Positions everyone, Hannah ordered. We're about to rewrite the rules of space combat. The battle began 30 minutes later. Admiral Kwan's ships moved in perfect formation, their discipline impressive even in the dangerous environment of the graveyard. This is Admiral Kwan to all vessels, came the transmission. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. This is your final warning. Hannah opened a channel to respond. Admiral, this is Commander Hannah. I will not surrender innocent people to be slaughtered. Commander, you have been classified as a traitor. Your ship will be destroyed along with the human vessel. Then, come and try. The first shots were fired by the Coalition fleet. Energy beams lanced through the graveyard, but the Terra's Dawn was already moving. Lieutenant Wu's piloting skills were beyond anything Hannah had ever seen. The human ship twisted between wrecks like a dancer, never staying in the same position. For more than seconds, target the unstable reactors, Hannah ordered her weapons officer. Fire when ready. The Void Serpent's weapon struck an ancient wreck. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the old ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The explosion chain reacted through nearby wrecks, creating a wall of fire and debris. One down, called Lieutenant Wu. 11 to go. But the Coalition fleet was adapting. They spread out, using the larger wrecks as cover. Admiral Kwan's flagship moved to flank them from the right. They're trying to box us in, Engineer Han warned. Then we'll break the box, June replied. What followed was unlike any space battle in recorded history. The Terra's Dawn and Void Serpent worked together with perfect coordination. When one ship was targeted, the other would create a distraction. When one needed to reload, the other would provide cover. The Coalition crews watched in amazement as their rigid tactics were torn apart by creative thinking. The humans didn't fight like any species they had encountered. They improvised, adapted, and found solutions that shouldn't have worked, but did. How are they doing this? Major Tae asked in wonder. They're not following the rules, Hannah replied. They're making new ones. The battle turned when Engineer Hyun had a brilliant idea. Instead of exploding the wrecks, they began using them as projectiles. The Terra's Dawn's tractor beam grabbed a massive piece of debris and hurled it at the Coalition fleet. Incoming debris, shouted a coalition captain, but it was too late. The wreck slammed into two ships, disabling them instantly. Admiral Kwan's voice crackled over the communicator. All ships fall back to minimum safe distance. Prepare for orbital bombardment. He's going to destroy the entire graveyard, Sergeant Dahl realized. Not if we get to him first, June said. The Terra's Dawn suddenly accelerated toward the Admiral's flagship. It was a suicide run, but Hannah understood the plan. She ordered the Void Serpent to follow. Commander Major Tay called out. We're going to ram his ship? No, Hannah replied. We're going to save it. At the last moment, both ships veered away from the flagship. But they had accomplished their goal. The Admiral's ship was now isolated from the rest of his fleet. Admiral Kwan, Hannah transmitted, your ship is surrounded. Surrender now, and your crew will be spared. There was a long pause, and Kwan's voice came through, filled with rage. I dare demand my surrender? I dare demand justice, Hannah replied. The war against humanity is built on lies. It's time for the truth to come out. The Admiral's ship powered down its weapons. The battle was over, as the coalition fleet retreated. Hannah stood on her bridge and looked at the Terra's Dawn. Captain June had shown her what it meant to fight for something greater than orders. For the first time in her life, she had followed her heart instead of her commanders. It felt right. Admiral Kwan did not stay defeated for long. 3 days after the battle in the stellar graveyard, his massive fleet appeared at the edge of known space. This time he brought 50 ships, including the Coalition's most powerful dreadnought. The Iron Fist. Hannah and June had reached the Outer Rim territories, but they were trapped. Behind them lay the vast emptiness of unexplored space. Had waited certain destruction. Can't run anymore, Captain June said during their emergency meeting aboard the Terra's Dawn. Our ships are damaged and low on fuel. But then we make our stand here, Hannah replied. She looked around the table at the faces of both human and coalition crew members. Over the past week, they had become one team. Dr. Minho, the Terra's Dawn's chief scientist, spread out star charts on the table. This system has advantages. The asteroid field can provide cover, and the gas giant's rings will interfere with their sensors. 2 ships against 50, Major Tay said grimly. Even with advantages, the odds are impossible. Maybe not, said Engineer Hine. I've been working on something with your technical staff, Commander Hannah. A way to combine our technologies.
What?
Kind of combination? Hune activated a portable display. Hune creativity with coalition engineering. We've created hybrid weapon systems that are more powerful than anything either of our species has built before. The display showed detailed technical drawings. Coalition energy weapons modified with human targeting systems. Shield generators enhanced with human adaptive algorithms. Engine configurations that blended both technologies. How long to install? These modifications? Hannah asked. 18 hours, replied Sergeant Dahl, who had been working closely with the human engineers. But we'll need both crews working together. Do it, June ordered. Whatever it takes. As the crews worked frantically to prepare for battle, Hannah found herself walking through the Terra's Dawn's corridors. She stopped at the archive room where the precious human artifacts were stored. Communications Officer Salman was there, carefully checking the preservation systems. Are you afraid? Hannah asked. Terrified, Salman admitted. But not for myself. If we fail, all of this will be lost forever. Hannah looked at the containers holding thousands of years of human culture. Why is this so important to you? Because it's who we are, Salman replied. Every species needs to remember where they came from. These artifacts are our memory. And you believe other species should know about human contributions to their cultures. Believe truth is always better than lies, Salman said simply. Meanwhile, Dr. Minho was making a breakthrough in his research. He had discovered something in the ancient archives that could change everything. Captain June, he called excitedly. You need to see this. June and Hannah hurried to the science lab. Dr. Minho had several holographic displays showing historical documents. I found records of the first contact between humans and other galactic species, Dr. Minho explained. But look at this. showed communication logs from centuries ago. The first meetings between humans and Coalition founders had been peaceful. Humans had shared their knowledge freely, helping other species advance their civilizations. The Coalition wasn't formed to contain humanity, Dr. Minho continued. It was formed to learn from humanity. The original charter even mentions humans as founding members. Then what happened? Hannah asked. Politics, fear. As human influence grew, some leaders became worried about losing power. They gradually changed the narrative, turning humans from teachers into threats. This proves our innocence, June said. More than that, Dr. Minho replied. It proves the entire foundation of the Coalition is built on corrupted principles. Ensign Nara, the Terra's Dawn's young navigator, had been listening to the conversation. Dr. Minho, can we broadcast this information? What do you mean? If we're going to die anyway, why not tell the galaxy the truth? Send these records to every system, every planet. Let everyone know what really happened. Hannah felt a surge of hope. Salmon, can you break through Coalition communication blocks? I've been working on quantum entanglement communication, Salmon replied. It can't be jammed or stopped. But we need a powerful signal boost. The gas giant, Engineer High-N, said suddenly. Its magnetic field could amplify our signal across the entire galaxy. How long would the transmission take? June asked. 20 minutes for full data upload, Salmon calculated. But we'd need to hold position near the gas giant during the entire broadcast. Right in the middle of the battle zone, Major Tay observed. Then that's where we'll fight, Hannah declared. Admiral Kwan's fleet arrived exactly when expected. 50 warships dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. The Iron Fist led them, its massive hull bristling with weapons. This is Admiral Kwan to the trader vessels, came the transmission. You are surrounded. Surrender the human artifacts and prepare to be destroyed. This is Captain June, came the reply. We have something to show you first. The transmission began. Dr. Minho's historical records started broadcasting across the galaxy. The true story of human coalition relations, the evidence of cultural exchange, the proof that the war was built on lies. Stop that transmission. Kwan roared to his fleet. All ships attack. Ow. The final battle began with a fury unlike anything in galactic history. 50 coalition ships converged on the two defenders, positioned near the gas giant, but the hybrid weapons proved their worth immediately. The Terra's Dawn's modified cannons tore through enemy shields like paper. The Void Serpent's enhanced targeting systems made every shot count. They're more powerful than expected, reported a coalition captain. Doesn't matter, Kwan replied. Continue the assault. Lieutenant Wu's piloting skills reached legendary levels as she guided the Terra's Dawn. Through impossible maneuvers, the ship danced between enemy fire, using the gas giant's rings as cover. 15 minutes remaining on transmission, Salmon announced. Can we hold that long? June asked. We have 2, Hannah replied. The battle intensified. The coalition ships fell, one by one, to the innovative tactics of the combined crews. But weight of numbers began to tell. The Terra's Dawn's shields failed, and the Void Serpent took critical damage. Hull breach on Deck 5, reported Sergeant Dahl. Transmission at 18 minutes, Salmon called out. Sir Ensign Nara announced, I'm receiving responses to our broadcast. Ships are leaving coalition fleets across the galaxy. They're demanding answers from their governments. The rebellion had begun. Even as the battle raged, the truth was spreading. Species that had been loyal to the coalition for generations were suddenly questioning everything they had been told. Admiral, one of Kwan's captains, transmitted, My government is ordering me to cease fire. They want to verify these historical claims. Ignore your government, Kwan snarled. Continue the attack. But more ships began withdrawing from the battle. The transmission was working. The galaxy was learning the truth about humanity. Transmission complete, Salmon announced. Then we've won, June said quietly. Even if they died here, the truth would survive. The galaxy would never again accept lies about humanity. The Iron Fist moved in for the final assault, but something unexpected happened. Other ships began arriving. At the battle site, independent vessels from across the galaxy coming to defend the truth. The tide of war was turning. 6 months had passed since the battle at the edge of known space. The galaxy looked very different now. What had started as a desperate fight between two damaged ships had become a revolution that changed everything. Commander Hannah stood on the observation deck of New Terra Colony watching construction ships work on the latest expansion. The settlement had grown from a small outpost to a thriving city in just half a year. Ships from dozens of species arrived daily, bringing refugees, scientists, and treasure hunters eager to learn about human culture. "The morning reports, Commander," said Major Tay, approaching with a data pad. He wore the uniform of the new Free Coalition, a government formed by species that had broken away from the old regime. "How many new arrivals today?" 347 beings from 12 different species were running out of housing again. Hannah smiled. It was a good problem to have. Prove the construction of Sector 15. We'll need more space. For the university expansion, university was Captain June's idea. A place where beings from all species could study together, learning about each other's cultures without fear or prejudice. The human archives had become the foundation for the largest collection of galactic knowledge ever assembled. Any word from the diplomatic mission? Ambassador Nara reports success on Rigel Prime. The government has agreed to open their cultural archives. They want to compare their historical records with ours. Ensign Nara had proven to be a natural diplomat. Her youth and enthusiasm made her perfect for convincing suspicious governments to cooperate. She had already helped establish archive exchanges with 7 different worlds. Hannah walked through the colony's main street. It was bustling with activity. Regalian musicians played alongside human artists. Centauri scientists debated theories. With Terran researchers, children from multiple species played together in the parks. She stopped at the Memorial Garden, where a simple stone monument honored those who had died in the battle 6 months ago. Admiral Kwan's name was listed among them. He had gone down with his ship, still believing he was protecting the galaxy from a human threat. "He was wrong, but he wasn't evil," said a familiar voice behind her. Hannah turned to see Captain June approaching. He looked different now. The stress lines around his eyes had faded, replaced by the expression of a man who had found purpose again. "Council's final offer arrived this morning," Hannah told him. "What are they proposing now? Full pardons for both of us? Restoration to our former ranks? They even offered me promotion to Admiral, in exchange for turning to Coalition space and keeping quiet about what we learned." June shook his head. "They still don't understand. This isn't about politics or military rank. It's about truth." They walked together toward the archive building, the heart of the colony. Inside, Dr. Minho was working with scientists from the University of Vega to catalog newly discovered human artifacts. Each item told a story about humanity's forgotten contributions to galactic civilization. "How's the research progressing?" Hannah asked. "Beyond our wildest hopes," Dr. Minho replied excitedly. "We've found evidence that human influence spread much further than we imagined. Music, art, philosophy, even scientific methods, they're everywhere once you know how to look." Communications Officer Selman looked up from her workstation. "The quantum communication network is now active in 47 systems. We can share information instantly across half the galaxy. The network was Summon's greatest achievement. Using quantum entanglement principles discovered in human archives, she had created a communication system that no government could control or censor. Truth could now travel faster than any attempt to suppress it. Any interesting discoveries today?" June asked. Dr. Minho activated a holographic display. "We found something remarkable in the Andromedan cultural files. Their creation myths describe star voices that taught them about justice and equality. The descriptions match human philosophy texts from the Renaissance period." "So human broadcasts reached other galaxies?" "It appears so. The influence was even greater than we thought." Engineer Heian entered the archive room, followed by a group of young beings from various species. They were students in the colony's first integrated engineering program. "Commander Hannah," Captain June Heian said, "I want you to meet our latest graduates. They've designed something special." The students activated a portable display showing technical specifications for a new type of spacecraft. It combined engineering principles from 6 different species, creating something that was greater than the sum of its parts. "We call it the Unity class," explained a young Regelian student. "It's designed for exploration, not war. We want to use it to search for more evidence of interspecies cultural exchange." "When will the first ship be ready?" Hannah asked. 3 months, replied a human student. "We're hoping you and Captain June will command the maiden voyage." Hannah looked at June, who nodded with enthusiasm. "Where would we go?" "To the source," said the Regalian. "We want to visit Earth." The statement caused silence in the room. Earth had been declared a dead world, too dangerous to approach. Recent analysis suggested the planet might be recovering faster than expected. "The radiation levels have dropped significantly," Dr. Minho confirmed. "A survey mission might be possible." "Think of what we might find," Salman added. "Libraries, museums, universities that survived the bombardment. There could be archives we never knew existed." Later that evening, Hannah and June stood on the colony's highest tower, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors. 3 moons hung in the darkening sky, each one home to a different species that had joined their growing alliance.
Oh.
"Do you ever regret it?" June asked. "Given up your old life?" "Never," Hannah replied, without hesitation. "I spent years following orders without understanding their purpose. Now, I wake up every day knowing that what we're doing matters. The galaxy is changing because of what we started here." "No," Hannah corrected. "The galaxy is changing because people finally learn the truth. We just help deliver the message." A communication alert chimed on Hannah's personal device. She checked the message and smiled. "What is it?" "A message from the Coalition Council. They're requesting a formal meeting. They want to discuss terms for ending the conflict." "What kind of terms?" "Recognition of human rights, acknowledgement of historical contributions, establishment of cultural protection laws." "They're offering everything we asked for." June considered this. "And what do they want in return?" "Our help in rebuilding the coalition based on truth instead of fear. Can we trust them?" Hannah looked out at the colony below, where beings from across the galaxy lived and worked together in harmony. "We can try. But if they betray that trust, we'll be ready." Ambassador Nara's ship appeared in the sky, returning from another successful diplomatic mission. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities to spread the truth further across the galaxy. The kill command that had marked Captain June as a target had become the catalyst for the greatest change in galactic history. Hannah had followed, her heart instead of her orders, and in doing so, had helped create a better future for everyone. As the stars came out one by one, Hannah knew that humanity would never again be forgotten or feared. The truth had set them all free,